Hello, my friends. This is Greg House from Green Greg's. My friends, we're in a world of trouble these days. Things are just keep getting worse. I mean, we're on the verge of potential civil war in this country. Really, it's worse than you might think. And the threats of World War III are coming back to the point that even Donald Trump is now threatening Russia, sending arms to Ukraine. Uh, we still have all the tensions with China, and things aren't over yet with Iran. Believe it or not, believe it or not, Israel has come out and said that there is still enriched nuclear materials in Iran. That's not funny. It's just that I told you so. The Iranians said they got it out. We talked about the places they could take it to. I showed they could have done it in one truck. And I don't even think they got the centrifuges either, because as I mentioned in a previous video where I talked about how they could get the stuff out, how they could hide from satellites, and I talked about uranium hexafluoride. So toxic, so corrosive that we wouldn't have people crawling all over those facilities today had that stuff been present. Yeah, I believe the facility at Fordo was smashed pretty good. I think the guys with the B2s did a good job. However, I do think that a lot of that stuff just wasn't there. As I said, as I explained in great excruciating, I'm an engineer. I brought this to you like nobody else on YouTube. And I talked about the analysis, the weight, what it would take to get that stuff out. Nobody else talked about that. I haven't heard that anywhere else on these platforms. But I went through it in great detail. And I explained, especially when they started crawling all over the facilities, taking pictures, even and putting little fences around the bomb craters where they drop the massive ordnance penetrators, the GBU 57s, right down the vent shaft, which was phenomenal, one after another. All of them hit precisely the target. They got in, got out. What the crews on the B-52s did, the entire Air Force strike team, was phenomenal. It was excellent job they did. However, had that stuff been there, we'd be hearing something different. Had that stuff been there, you wouldn't see these guys crawling all over the place. They couldn't. They absolutely would kick over and be doing the funky chicken on the ground. They wouldn't survive it. They wouldn't have been putting up little fences around and things like that, like we've seen in the pictures from the sites. So something's missing there. And I don't care, you know, the team man, we may love him, but I don't think we love him as much as we did since he defended Pam Bondi with the Epstein case the way he did. Epstein, who wants to talk about that now? Everybody, especially since you said that. Wow. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to get into that tonight. We'll may revisit that on over on Silverhead News later. We've talked about that on Silverhead News. If you want to see my talking, go watch Silverhead News. I will just say that the non-existent list of Epstein was used to prosecute and convict Ghislaine Maxwell as an exhibit, but it don't exist. Anyway, yeah, there's some fishy there, and I'm not happy with it. All that said, guys, why is he, why is he, why did he defend Pam Bondi the way he did and say what he said? That just made it worse. Trump, you just made it worse, and you're losing your base over it. Wow. Anyway, MAGA's idea, it's not a person. Don't put your faith in a person. You will be greatly disappointed. That's not what the good Lord taught us. So, we need to put our faith in higher powers. Don't worship people. If you do, you'll be greatly disappointed. All that said, I am disappointed though still, but that's not what we're here for tonight for. We're here tonight to talk about the threat of war. We're here tonight to talk about this is bigger than we thought, and it's coming back. We had hoped that Trump would make peace with Russia. And the first thing, if they'd have cut off Ukraine entirely, Ukraine would have had to made some agreements early on. They never did that. Now, maybe we were about to on our side, but the Europeans stepped up and was going to, suddenly make up the difference. So Ukraine just kept marching on. But then it looks like maybe Russia didn't really want to negotiate because Russia thinks they're winning. They think they're going to get it. And why should they negotiate when they're in the catbird seat? Hmm. Anyway, so let's share some articles here. I don't want to be on here all night. It's really late, and I got to get up really early. And I do have another video I've been working on. I wanted to do it like 2 days ago. I got all the stuff put together. Just haven't had time to do that video because I want to do it as a video that's going to be a standalone, not a live session. And I have to post those before 10 p.m. East, like Central Time, or they go. Unfortunately, about every time I got ready to record the video, it's like, oh, I got to go out and water the garden. When I get back in from that, it's like too late. So you'll be seeing that soon. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be talking about the case of how and why the Chinese can attack us right here on our home terra firma, just like the Mossad did in Iran, just like the excuse me, yeah, or like the Ukrainians did and with their Operation Spiderweb in Russia, but they could do it far more extensively, and not just here on home. They could hit our bases around the Pacific and other places with a very devastating drone attack, sleeper cell attacks, and other things. We're not ready for the kind of war we might be stepping into, and to be distracted by Iran, to be distracted by what's going on in Europe, does not serve us because China is going to do what China is going to do, and China actually wants. China come out and said, and they told the Europeans they kind of messed up. China's actually showed that they accidentally showed their hand to Europe because they actually made the admission that they wanted that war in Ukraine to keep going. And especially didn't want Russia to lose it because they want to keep us tied up over there. To see us getting involved over there serves their interest very well. That makes them very happy. Also, the the Chinese shot a laser beam at a German aircraft. Yeah, in the Red Sea, trying to do ops for for what's going on because the Houthis just keep on attacking. We keep playing whack-a-mole, thinking that we're going to stop them, but they keep going and just keep going and keep going. Wow, and that's what I always said. We're just playing whack-a-mole and using our stuff, our missiles and things that we need. Should we have to confront China, which China is very well pleased with that, I suppose. Anyway. We've got a bigger fish to fry, and we're all too tied up in ponds where it really is not our business. That's my humble opinion. These other places aren't near the threat to us that China is, and yet we are consuming ourselves in the wrong places. We're not focused in the right place. That is my humble opinion on those topics. Now, you may disagree with me. If you disagree with me, put a 1 in the chat room. If you agree with me, put a 2 in the chat room. I'd like to see what y'all think about it. But we're going to go to the articles here, and I'm going to share some of the stuff with you. We're going to try and make this fast tonight. And for the people, the coffee club guys in the morning who's drinking their coffee to catch us on their way for what our business are going to do Saturday, I'd say the news is going to be the first part of this. And then I'll look at the chat for a little bit, but not as long tonight. I got a class in the morning real early. So I got to get up and get at it, my friends. In any event, well, we got a fair number in the chat room. So not as many as I thought I'd have them. Looks more like my Swivelhead News channel, 49. Should be more than that. Holy smoking guacamole. Holy guacamole smokamole. Okay, let's go to share screen. Wait a minute, I got to change something before I do that. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, we're going to pull this up. Ding, ding. Guys, I don't know. This stuff is just incredible where we're at, the things that are happening. It is incredible in a bad way. All right. As you may know, Russia's just launched some huge attacks on Ukraine. And one of them, they hit a hospital. And Trump is using that as to tell Putin that you'll be seeing things happen. Apparently, there was a maternity ward in that hospital that was hit. So Trump is, really, so this war over there is none of our business. Why? There's many other wars going on in Africa and other places. Why do we get so involved in Ukraine war? Why? There's heinous acts being committed around the world. Why this one? Why the one where we could get into nuclear war? one where Europe ought to be able to take care of its own business. There are more helpless people in other places of the world that are suffering as bad or worse than Ukraine. But we picked this one. And, you know, we elected Trump thinking that he wasn't going to get us all into this, but here we are. But anyway, he's telling you'll be seeing things happen. It's kind of a veiled threat. He didn't say what it was, but he is sending supposedly defensive stuff over there, you know, Patriots and things like that. But I don't know, guys. This you'll be seeing things happen is a very big veiled threat. And you don't make threats like that unless you're backing it up with something big. That's a scary thing. You know, you shouldn't even if you're planning to hit somebody like Putin who believes that if you think you're going to get hit, you got to hit the other guy first. I mean, he's already said it. Putin said that. If you think you're going to be hit the other guy first. Then what are you talking about? Keep your mouth trap shut, Trump. Jeez, what in the world are you talking? You shouldn't be talking this, even if you're planning it. This is dangerous talk, provocative in any event. And just to spice it up, the UK and France have joined defense forces for a nuclear deterrence. I mean, they basically come up with their own pact on their nuclear weapons. Both France and UK have nuclear weapons. They both have ballistic submarines with nuclear weapons in the submarines. France also has, I believe, nuclear cruise missiles, and they've agreed to develop a new missile together. So that's one of the submarines. I think that's a British submarine, a Crown submarine. So this is, I should say UK instead of British, but you know, where it is in here, let's see. The submarine launch missiles. Oh yeah, the Ukraine, excuse me, Great Britain is going to be getting F-35s that can carry our B-61. Are they going to be carrying their own nukes on those for bombing? I don't know. I don't know. They plan to develop one with, like I said, they're planning to develop a missile. So one of the things that's been said, it's not in this article, one of the things that's been said about their pact is that if one of these nations declares that they need to attack somebody else, that they can command the other country to launch on them. So it's a strange pact. A very strange, you know, that one country can tell another country to use their nukes. We don't even do that with NATO and the United States. Of course, nobody tell the United States that we have to use our nukes, but it's just strange, very provocative thing. And one of the other things they said that in here somewhere is that they're not just reliant on weapon of mass destruction attacks. You know, it's considered to be a threat against Europe, and they also evoke the idea of other technologies, which is a very vague reference. They're claiming they could use their nukes. I mean, just very vague, wide open policy here established between the United Kingdom and France. This puts us closer to bad things happening, in my humble opinion, unfortunately. And, you know, Russia is not taking that very well either. What in the world has this come up here? Custom reward program. That's not what should be there. Anyway, I'll skip over that. So sometimes, I click on something and oddball things come up. What in the world was that? I don't know. Odd website, won't go there. Western European leaders dragging the continent toward war with Russia. Well, yeah, it does sound like that. This is what Lavrov is saying. You know, he's the foreign minister of Russia. You know, this guy here looks kind of like Herman Monster, Sergey Lavrov. This is what he's saying. He's saying that, hey, we're just heading there. And yeah, that's kind of what that boils down to. But NATO chief has come out and said China's got a plan for Taiwan. They're going to tell Russia to attack Europe. I kid you not. This is what he said. He said they're going to tell Russia to attack Europe, NATO nations, when they decide to launch on Taiwan. Now, would Russia do that? Now, that's a big conjecture. This is a big statement. This is a big, why would he even say this? But this is what is coming out of Mark Rutte's mouth. Mark Rutte, the head of the NATO Defense Forces. This is what he is saying. So you know, that's a very provocative statement in and of itself. Again, it may put Putin in that, oh, You think we're going to hit you? Okay, if they hit Taiwan, well, then maybe we have to. With that, you got to hit them before they hit you. Philosophy he has, especially since Europe's come up between France and Germany. They're the only two, aside from Russia, was three nuclear powers in Europe, essentially: Russia, France, and uh, excuse me, United Kingdom. Not counting the United States, which is not in Europe. So this is the United Kingdom and France trying to make up for I guess, the idea that America might pull out. Well, we should, because these guys are on the verge of pulling us into World War III. We shouldn't have anything to do with this. Nothing. And yet Trump is now making threats over Ukraine. It's none of our business. Ukraine's not a United States ally. Why are we in this? Why are we in this? If y'all think that we ought to be in this, put a 3 in the chat room. If y'all think we ought to be pulling out, put a 4 in the chat room. We shouldn't even be in this. I don't think we got any business in it at all. Europe should be able to take care of themselves, and that's what they're trying to do there. But, see, part of the thing is they're always thinking Big Daddy, and now they're calling Trump and Daddy. They're trying to build his ego. Seriously, they're calling him Daddy over there now because they want Big Daddy to come save them when they get themselves in trouble, because they know they're on the verge of getting themselves in trouble. That's what the globalists over there are aiming for. So this is just nuts. Just absolutely nuts, my friends. This is why we could find ourselves in a nuclear war, seriously, before we know it. So we need to get out. We need to get out. There was a congressman, I believe from Tennessee, who put forth legislation to pull the United States out of NATO. That needs to go forward. We need to get out. We got no business in that alliance anymore. They're not serving us very well. We've always been the ones carrying the water. Let them take care of themselves. Jeez. And as I said, Putin believes victory over Ukraine is just months away, according to the report. And it may be. That's probably why he's doubling down on attacks. So anyway, he's not availed himself to any of Trump's overtures, that's for sure. So Trump's mad. Trump's taking it personal. Trump, back out. It's not personal. And Russia's pulling in other forces. They're getting a lot of North Koreans fighting for them now. Laos is going in and sending military soldiers to Ukraine, and they're talking about it's 40,000 in here. Let's see, what's it say? Quite a few soldiers. They're sending a big contingent of there. I think it's 40,000. Anyway, Laos. Yes, the nation of Laos, which is still an ally of Russia, apparently, sending a big troop contingent to Ukraine. So this is evolving into a world war. We got North Korea involved in it. We got Laos coming into it. Belarus is not committed troops, but they were close to it on the first offensive. But they're in there pretty tight with Russia. So, yeah, this thing could escalate so fast, especially as other countries start chiming in troops. Anyway, and as I said, Trump is now sending weapons to Ukraine through NATO. Well, it's stuck on the United States. What difference does it make? We're not sending them directly. We're just sending them over there and we're giving them to NATO, and NATO sent them. Aren't we like the head cheese in NATO so far? That's why we need to get out of NATO, in my humble opinion. Well, brother, don't agree with me. Okay, brother, tell us why. So anyway, so there we are. We are sending this stuff. They're talking about Patriot batteries. Now, Patriots are defensive missiles. But what else is going? What's the big surprise that Trump was talking about? Now, as I said, drone warfare has been pretty powerful. Oops. Oh, Lord. McAfee is knocking too much of my stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with that article. Come on. Shoot. Anyway, there's been a Russians surrendering to a drone. Now McAfee started doing a bunch of stuff on here. And I think it's full of it. Anyway. Anyway, Lavrov is, come up with his defense, his peace propositions. Now, one of them, I don't think that Ukraine or anybody else would buy off on. He says, Ukraine's got to totally disarm. And, given that the fact, now, I could see them not being a part of NATO. I could see us stop sending stuff over there. I could see, indeed, I think Ukraine should give up those territories that didn't want to be part of Ukraine to start with. So they should cede those territories, which Russia's already occupying. But to tell Ukraine they got to totally disarm after they've been attacked the way they have, no, I don't think that's reasonable at all. However, it ain't none of our business. I think we need to get the heck out. Let the Europeans handle this. They seem to be itching for war over there. Let's get the heck out. Let them figure it out. Yeah, well, there's some ego in play here. That's for sure on all sides. Well, a nation needs a strong man to lead it, but unfortunately, strong men are subject to ego issues at times. And I think that's part of the big claims. Oh, we wiped everything out. Well, as soon as we bombed Iran, us, okay, we just need to wait and see what the damage assessments are. And automatically, they just came out and just announced totally, we destroyed everything. You can't know that automatically. Holy smoke. And well, now the Israelis are admitting, no, we didn't. There was they're admitting that Iran has nuclear materials and access to them, enriched nuclear materials. So what are we going to do? Does that mean we're going to bomb them again? Gosh, I don't know. Uh, so I hope not. So we keep getting involved in that. It could really escalate. If one in and out, the risk to us isn't as bad. But if we keep going, it's pretty crazy. Hey, Keith in Arizona, neighbor. If we got any other neighbors in the house in here. Anyway, we are Chinese warship targets German plane with a laser over the Red Sea. I kid you not, guys. So Europe, I've been warning you that China wasn't your friend. A lot of people in Europe wanted to kind of cozy up to China when Trump came in and was trying to tell them they needed to take care of their own business and spend their fair share on their own defense. And, they were all got their panties in the wad and talked about cozying up to China. China's not your friend. China's nobody's friend. They're not even a friend of their own people. Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. Anyway, China's only a friend to the people in the CCP, and then they play all kind of hostilities against each other internally all the time. So communism is crummy any way you shake it. It's crummy. That's why I call it communism, or however you want to take it. So, how you doing, Angie? So, guys, just watch out. Europe, wake up. Wake up, Europe. Wake up. You don't need to be in that. And I wouldn't be so itchy to jump into Ukraine either, Europe. You be prepared to defend yourselves, but don't be so itchy to jump in. Anyway, Russia vows to refill Iran's uranium stocks. What about that? And I'm getting things hung up again here. I'm gonna stop the share for a second. Oh no, it went then. Sometimes I have to stop the share. There we are, guys. I kid you not. I didn't make this up. Israel concludes some of Iran's enriched uranium survived U.S. strikes. Maybe all of it. They said they moved it. I described how they could have moved it. They had trucks there, apparently trying to seal the door, big dump trucks, like 16 of them. 2 times that would have moved everything out of there. They let those be photographed by satellites, but whatever, if they were going to move stuff, those trucks would have never been photographed. They had plenty of time. I described how that could be done. 30 to 31 trucks could have easily moved everything, and that's with a big fat margin on it, probably a lot less, maybe 15 or 16. Anywho, so but Iran's top general is making threats. He's telling Israel that they're going to get hit harder than ever if they strike again. And, Willie, this commander of the Army of Iran, the general, how you say this, Abdulrahim Musavi. Anyway, it could just be a lot of hot air. I mean, they will fire missiles. They were getting better at it as Israel was depleting their Iron Dome, and as Iran started firing their more advanced stuff. They fired their older stuff first because they knew it would just be expended against the Iron Dome assets and American assets. So, and then Iran's come out and put this bounty on Trump's head, some Iranian fundraiser. $40 million for anybody that would take Trump out. To the Iranians, that's a lot of money. And we got And as I mentioned, their sleeper said, "What's up, Robert? Bye." You unhappy about something, Robert? Tell us about it. Anyway, so um, you know, Trump has said that if he gets taken out, he's left some very specific instructions with the Defense Department and I guess intelligence agencies. We don't know what that means. But we also know that the Grand Ayatollah, it's another Ayatollah, not Ayatollah Khomeini, which I used to call Khomeini until I heard an Iranian Tutsi TV pronounce. But I got him right here. There you see, Khomeini. I got Khomeini right here. I've had him captured for some time. So in any event, yeah, we could be getting into it in so many ways. It's not funny. Europe, Iran, China, North Korea. Yeah, remember, North Korea is in with Russia, and Russia backs North Korea conversely. So if we get a war in the Korean Peninsula, Russia will be part of that. Yeah. If we attack Russia, will North Korea attack South Korea? So there's a lot of questions here. And the biggest things we got to worry about is what's going to happen here on the home front. That's going to be my next video. You guys need to keep an eye out for that. I may put it up tomorrow. Thank you, Jason. Mossad is still in Iran. Yeah, and they're still doing things. Yeah, there's been some bombings in Iran that have been highly suspicious that the Iranians are blaming on the Mossad. So something's going on, guys. Something is happening over there. Maybe the prelude to the next thing. Well, we're going to change topics here a little bit. I've been talking about Chinese military technology and how it's advancing and the robotics. How about this? A robot mosquito spy drone. Look how tiny that is. Yeah, it's a tiny, and they also got now a robotic bee also. So this is one of their new military robots. This is not some little lab robot. This is robust, able to be fielded. So this is a scary robot. And what's really scary, and what's really worried me the most, some of you guys may know Travis Taylor from the some TV shows he's done over the years. I got involved in one of them myself when aliens attacked, believe it or not. But I left before I was supposed to speak because when I heard him talking, I thought he's going down a zany road and I didn't want to be part of it. I was supposed to have a speaking part in that show. I'm in the background. One of my buddies, Bill Brown, was speaking, but I thought, yikes. And I was going to explain some things, but when I saw how he was doing, it's like, no, I don't want no part of it. Anyway, Travis Taylor is a scientist. He's a laser scientist, and he's out there now with Skinwalker Ranch, been doing several episodes of that and found some really strange stuff out there. He actually got a radiation burn out of one of those strange phenomena out there. So there's something going on out there at that Skinwalker Ranch. A lot to be explained. But in any event, he was speaking to my Club How 5 once upon a time, talking about, if the aliens come down, it would be basically like Marines, bang, 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 bang. And I'm going, uh-uh. We get a civilization that's way more advanced than us. They're going to have little swarms of micro drones about the size of gnats. I said, they're going to go up your nostrils and take your brains out. I said, ain't nothing you're going to be able to do with bang bangs. Well, look here, China's on their way. That's scary. Think about this. Drone swarms getting smaller and smaller. What happens if you get them the size of gnats? And if you're wearing a face mask, the first ones that come at you would have the job of boring through the face mask, maybe with tiny little explosive charges to knock a hole in it, maybe drill or cut a hole, and then they'd come on in. They go up your nostrils. Maybe they get through your skin and go in your bloodstream. Take your brains out or something. I don't know. This is scary. I mean, how do you defend yourself from something like that? Now, this is just an intel drone. It don't have any great capabilities in those regards. But guys, this stuff is advancing so fast. It is downright frightening. It is absolutely downright frightening how fast this stuff is coming along. That's what I tell you guys. You need to get ready. You need to be prepared every way you can. And maybe the best way to be prepared is just to get the heck away from everything. If you're in a big target area, that's where these kind of things would happen the most. Like, do you live near a military base or some critical infrastructure they'd want to take out? They may put stuff like this in big population centers. This is some scary stuff. Anyway, fortunately, Hexa is getting smart. He's decided, they canceled some of the big Army robot programs, which were just big, expensive weapons. Now he's going for the smaller, quick, cheap drones. That's what they need to do. That's where, we watch how Ukrainians have been fighting Russians. Watch how, the Mossad took out so much of the Iranian forces. That's the real answer, is to start looking at smaller, cheaper stuff and get away from these big, giant Boeings and Lockheed Martins and who are going to bilk you for billions and billions of dollars because selling big weapon systems that aren't nothing but big, easy targets and consume too much budget. This is the way to go. This is the future of warfare, unfortunately. Anywho, let's see here. Back to our buddies, the Houthis. Yeah, they just keep attacking and sinking ships. I think they're up to 3 here in the past week or so. But Israel hammers them. Yeah, lights up the ports, and yeah, we got them. But yet the Houthis just keep coming back for more. Houthi rebels celebrate sinking ship laden with explosive materials in the Red Sea. Then they got this Greek ship off Yemen. The crew got rescued from the water. Just keep going. We keep playing whack-a-mole. I've been saying that's the game we're playing the Houthis for how long now? 2 years, I think. And it just keeps going in that way. Hey, Rodney, how you doing, buddy, from down under? The declining dollar. Now, there's some economic news too. The dollar is in trouble, and it has been ever since we tried to use it as a weapon against Russia. When we weaponized the dollar, a lot of countries lost faith in it, and they decided to go other ways. And it played in the hands of BRICS. It played in the hands of China and Russia, and the dollar has been on the decline, unfortunately. Now, it may take a little while for it to fall completely, but she's definitely been on the decline. Central banks are going for gold. Investors still see value in silver, platinum, and may consolidate after a rapid price rise. What did I say? And here's yet another article on the declining status of U.S. dollar and global reserve currency. Guys, if we lose that status, our money, printing more money is going to be like Weimar Republic. We won't be able to finance this big debt we're carrying. And that's why you need to, think about your own reserve and what to do. I would say you not want to think about silver, platinum, all these you can get here with defythegrid.com. Defythegrid.com, it gives you a guarantee. If you find a better price anywhere else, call them and they'll meet it or beat it. Nobody else makes that kind of deal. And you can get these goldbacks, which I like. The goldbacks, I've mentioned many times, are, small amounts of gold that are printed into a bill that you can stick into your wallet. And I'm going to pull one out of my wallet. And you can barter with these because they're, the value is on the order of eggs and chicken for the smaller notes, that is. This one is 1/1000th of a troy ounce. So you can stick them in your wallet. You can't do that with a bar of gold. In a bar of gold, you'd have to shave pieces off and somebody'd have to weigh it and all that kind of stuff. No, these are already denominated. So that makes them kind of neat for bartering anyway. Use the code GREENGREGS, and you'll get 1% off. Use the coupon code. It's a coupon code. This is not an affiliate marketing site, but if you use the coupon code GREENGREGS, you get 1% off. Anyway, I want to talk about the flooding now. We'll change topics here. We'll get off the China thing. I'm talking about flooding. This thing in Texas was horrible. Kerr County officials waited 90 minutes to send emergency alert after requested. That was way too late because the river rose, I believe, 26, or maybe it's 29. I think it was 26 feet in 45 minutes. And Camp Mystic was right there on the riverbank. What a tragedy. There's been, I don't know, last count I saw was like over 110, maybe it's up to 160 now, people that did not survive. And I think there's still a lot of people missing. This is horrific. So, local officials got to get with it. That's just crazy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. All these pop-up ads. Whoops. Went to the pop-up ad. I was trying to kill it. Yikes. Now I'm going to kill my website. If I ain't careful. Ah, I did. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so on the humor side, we'll have a little fun here. We can have a little humor, right? How about this? Some guy put this thing. What is a septum ring? Anybody wear septum rings in my audience? You put a ring in your nose. We used to put rings in the nose when I was a kid, we put rings in the nose of hogs so they wouldn't root under the fence and get out. Now people putting rings in their own nose. I know. I gotta, I don't know, maybe that's gross. Now this guy here claims that this shows that they're leftist, that they're men haters. I don't know if that's true, but that's what this guy claims. He claims that these are men haters. That the sign, this is a sure sign that a woman's a man hater. Oh, I lost my cursor. Where'd it go? My cursor has disappeared. I'm trying to activate things and move things. There it is. Finally got it back. But it don't want to operate right. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, things don't want to scroll. It's hung up. Let me stop the share. I'll use my thumb. Let's go back to it. Yeah, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done now. I can probably scroll and do that. There's my cursor. Yeah, we can scroll now. Yeah, it's just hung up. Oh, hey, minions. I like minions. So I don't know. She looks pretty happy. At least the one on the left. The one on the right don't look happy. Oh my gosh, guys. Is that something that you find attractive? Anybody wear those? Yeah, bulldaggers. You know what I call them? Gold. You know what I call them? Golden snot. There's a lot of them gold colors, like snot drops. I don't know. It's like booger. Yeah, that's it. Golden boogers. That's what I call them. Golden boogers. What do y'all think? Golden boogers. Well, maybe they're just going back to their primal instincts. What do you think? Maybe they're just revoking the primal instincts because chimps stick grass in their ears and rears. So maybe they're just emulating these chimps to stick grass in their ears and rears. Maybe that's what it's all about. Anyway, I like to end things on a lighter note when I can. We got such heavy news, so much going on in the world. Sometimes we got to stop and find a little humor or we'll lose our sanity, these crazy times. So I don't know. Is that what it's all about? Or are they just emulating their primal instincts? Or are they just emulating chimpanzees, sticking grass in their ears and rears? I don't know, guys. Y'all tell me. All right, the news portion is over. I'm gonna look at the chat for a little bit, and then we're gonna call it a night here. I got to get up in a little bit. I'm up way too late already. Whew. Anyway, I like the slide diamond myself. Slide diamond. What is that, Angie? So let's check the chat room here real quick. Maybe I should see. I don't know. Kim Possible might be hiding in the room. I might should check my PayPal. Because I'd give credit if anybody throws in a donation or something out here. So we got Punjab. Hey, where you at, Punjab? Punjabi Prepa. Punjabi Prepa. Are you in India? Captain Trips. Val. Peanuts Nana. Ever know some Peanuts cartoons that adults never to speak? So, Val, have you read Which Path to Persia is the policy papers? Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Yes, I've heard of that. And it seems like we're just going right down it. Yes, 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 yes. My memory is fault. Yeah, we just don't have corporate memory in the news media. It's not going to be talking about Men in Black device. Oh, is that what our FBI guy buddies? Yeah, I saw a cartoon of Bongino and Cash Patel with one of those Men in Black devices. Like, forget this. I don't know. Supposedly they're mad at Bondi, according to some rumors, and threatening if she don't quit, they're going to quit. Are they just trying to save their own skins now? Because, they both came earlier on and said, well, this thing didn't happen with Epstein. No, he didn't happen. He self-eliminated. But that video now comes out. There's even more slices in that video. They found there's like 4. And that video doesn't look straight into cell door. And it turns out down that hall, there was also a access door for a utility room that somebody could have been hiding in. So there's just too many questions. I mean, that video is not a case closed video by any stretch of the imagination, like they were trying to tell us. AZ Homestead. Yeah, there you go. Maybe I need to rename this channel. Am I back in Alabama? No, this is my home in Arizona now. I'm in Arizona. I haven't put my books in the bookshelf yet. They're still packed up out here in some totes. I'm in Arizona. And this is home now. See, they sell incandescent light bulbs anymore. Oh yeah, they've stopped that. So Johnny B, how you doing? See, yeah, incandescent light bulbs. That's the ones I like. Nice soft glow of light. Anyway, he needs to step away to look and see if the full picture, it seems. Me? Or are you talking about Trump? Yeah, maybe Trump's just too close to the guys around him, guys and girls around him, and maybe that's got him in trouble. I don't know. I don't know. I like that and maybe he's being pulled by too many other people. Seems like he's falling into the clutches of the deep state. That's scary. Although a lot of the stuff his big beautiful bill does kind of seems like it's going to eliminate a lot of the deep state. And the good news is the Supreme Court did turn down a lower court injunction that said he couldn't fire a lot of federal workers. That'll save money from the budget. Hello, Elon. I mean, Elon and Trump need to get together, square all, get in a private room and have some conversations, see if they can't make peace. Typing too fast. Okay, my fat fingers, I can't type worth the dog, especially on a little phone. Jacob, how you doing? Let the Russians have their place. Yeah, is it worth a nuclear war to America? Is it worth us getting in a nuclear war to fight over a scrap of Ukraine that doesn't want to be part of Ukraine? I mean, they were already trying to rebel and separate from Ukraine before. They wanted to be part of Russia. What's the real population of China? It's probably a little less than what they estimate, although some YouTube channels are out there claiming it's way down from where. Yeah, I don't buy that. Those same YouTube channels are telling you that Xi Jinping is already gone and out, and that's not quite true yet either. And there's been several occasions of him disappearing in the past, and he just keeps coming back. So, yeah, don't take it out of the bank just yet. That's why I'm not talking about that. That's why I'm not going there. But if you want to see a good analysis of that, go see China Uncensored with Chris Chappell. He did a real good job talking about that. And I actually commended him in the chat in his chat below the thing because I said, this is the video I've been waiting for, because this is what I expected, and I figured you'd come out sooner or later and pine in on this. So Travis, maybe on Travis. Now, are you talking about the Travis I'm talking about, or are you talking about the local Travis and Snowflake who the Fire in the Sky maybe was made about? A couple of Travises around here. Croc or Rue. You must be talking to somebody in Australia there, Rodney, I suppose. Chicken Parmigiana. Oh, we're talking about what you're eating. Okay. Restructure the debt. Yeah, if we get a lower interest rate, but that maybe this is why Trump's been after Jerome Powell, try to get the interest rates down, and he may have succeeded. There's rumors now that Jerome Powell may actually leave, and mainly because they went after his Taj Mahal he built up. He spent $2.5 billion on his office, and now they're putting heat on him for it. It's supposed to be up there for fiscal responsibility, running the Federal Reserve, which is not federal and don't have a reserve. I don't know. We need to audit the gold in Fort Knox, though, right? No reason to make the world uglier. My thoughts. I agree with that. Oh, self-mutilation. That's kind of how I see some of that. That's the way I look at it. When I put a ring in your nose, oh, I don't know. Of all places, how you blow your nose? Ugh. That's just, to me, that just seems nasty. Burger, burger drops, burger rings. I don't know. Hi, Greg. Can't believe I caught your show. Hey, Sean. Let's see, Jason. All I can say about the big beautiful bill is the entirety of 115 million for AI applications and nuclear national security missions. Skynet. All right, my buddy from Area 51. Dragon Day video. Let's see, Angie. If you can't sleep and turn on YouTube, you will probably be catching Greg. It takes me so long to get this stuff together, but I do have another video in the works that I hope to put up. I may do as a premiere, so you might be able to come in the chat room on it if I do as a premiere. But I'm going to record it and upload it. And I was sitting here just ready to record it, and I realized, oh, I just got 30 minutes before sunset. I need to get outside and water my garden. The time I got everything set and ready to go. That's happened to me twice now. So hopefully I can get it tomorrow. But I do have a class tomorrow. It goes from 7 in the morning to 4 p.m. my time. So I think Trump the Kool-Aid. I don't know, something's happened. And wrong Travis. Oh yeah, what's Travis you talking about, Keith? So I was talking about Travis. Travis Walton, I believe, is someone who lives in Snowflake, who was the subject of the movie Fire in the Sky from being abducted. I'm talking about Travis Taylor, who's a scientist that does the show Skinwalker Ranch. I know him. I got his phone number on my phone. I know the guy. He tried to, he called me up one day and says, Greg, I got great news. He said, I want you to build a rocket for my, that's what he was doing the space hunt, the Rocket City Redneck show. I want you to build me a rocket. And he said, and he said, I was going to pay for it this movie. He said, hey, I'll give you $5,000 and I need it in 3 months and I want it to hit space. So I said, no, no, and no. I had to do one of those in 3 months. It's going to cost a lot more than $5,000. Jeez. Yeah, I was like, no, no, and no. So now one of my buddies, Bill Brown, helped him out on a lot of stuff. But that guy, he's lucky to survive that Rocket City Redneck show. He came close to biting the dust a few times doing that. And something got him at Skinwalker Ranch. He got a serious radiation burn from the phenomenology there. Something got him. Anyway, is AZ safe away from the fault lines? Gina, yeah, yes, pretty much. Although there are some, there's these things called the Santa Fe Mountains, where we got some big tall mountains around Flagstaff that, and even the White Mountains just south of me are all volcanic in nature. The Sun Crater about 900 years ago threw out a bunch of lava bombs. I got them over the place of the local Indian population. And once all those artillery shells were coming from Sun Crater, they just decided to pick up and leave. So it was, yeah, too hot in the kitchen for them, and I don't blame them. I hope to have me a little underground facility should it happen. It's not likely to happen in my lifetime. I don't have to dodge tornadoes. It did get pretty hot here the last few days. We got up to finally at 101. I think last year the record was 95, and that's typically the upper range in this part of Arizona for temperature. 95 is real hot for this area. The record's 104. The record in Huntsville, Alabama is 114 with humidity. So I could handle the 101. I just got a little fan over here, and that's, got me by. But nighttime it cools down. I just open the windows, takes a little bit, but cool air comes in, and I can sleep, in decent temperatures. So that kind of works out for me. I like the weather here better in that regard, but trying to grow a garden is a huge challenge. I got a garden out there, and I've got some stuff sprouting. I need to get a fence around it to keep it safe. I got 2 cats running patrol to keep the rats out. But if I don't hurry and get a fence around it, when the local ranchers turn their cows loose again, this is open range territory, my garden can be in trouble. So I got all the stuff to build a fence. It's just the time to do it. Put a fence around. There's a few more things I need to get to do it right. So I was also going to keep the deer out. So I'm going to get some taller poles. I did say I have seen deer tracks around my property, not in the last couple months, but I did see a big mule deer buck just on the hill, just right next to my property up here on the other corner. So a big mule deer buck. I got a picture of it too. So, yeah, and he had a big rack of antlers too. Fine looking specimen. I was driving an old blue 50-year-old pickup, 1-ton truck. And I actually got out of the truck and stood across the bed and took pictures of him. He let me take pictures of him. I was like, wow, that wouldn't happen in Alabama. They'd be gone. Anyway, so that's the case, guys. Let me check PayPal just in case. So we got our good friend Angie, excuse me, Kim Possible, if she's with us. She don't always chime in on the chat room. I'll see if anybody's sent anything here. Nope, not tonight. Not tonight. Anyway, so but I always check because I like to give credit where credit's due. Colorado Jan sends me a check every month in the mail, so I got to give her credit for that. She's not in the house tonight, I won't believe, but which is kind of unusual. But in any event, so anyway, we're gonna have to go. We've been on here now for how long? Let me check. How long we've been on this thing live? 50 minutes. Good. We can keep it under an hour for a change. That'll be good. I'll get more daytime viewers doing that. And I'll be coming up with a video hopefully tomorrow. And like I said, if I can get it up early enough, I might even do it as a premiere. But I won't be able to record it until after 4, which gives me just a couple hour window. Because when it's I got to get up before 10 p.m. Central Time. Every video I put up after 10 p.m. Central Time always tanked. Like nobody watched it. It was a posted video. That's why if I'm late, I go live. Anyway, guys, let's see. I like Chris Bledsoe. It rings a bell, but I can't. Who is he? It rings a bell about UFOs. Chris Bledsoe. I've heard the name, but I can't place it right off. So yeah, this is generally a pretty good place. You asked about fault lines. Now, there is south of here some fissures and cracks opened up in the ground, I guess, or somewhere on the south side of the rim, dropping down from the White Mountains into the valley where Tucson and Phoenix area is, where they've been sucking the aquifers so hard down there that the ground's settling and making huge fissures and cracks. And we got the Coconina aquifer up here. He calls the UFOs. Oh, wow. He calls them. Yeah, I don't want to call them ugly things. I don't want nothing to do with them. Yeah. Anywho, I don't have nothing to do with those guys. Southern grits. Hey, I like Southern grits. Hey, Patricia. Grits and gravy. Yeah. There's a company called EG&G. It does some defense contracts. At Marshall, in Space Flight Center, they had the roads and commodes contract, janitors and such. So they called it the roads and commodes contract, and they called it eggs, grits, and gravy, EG&G. Anyway, hey, sawmill gravy and biscuits, you can't beat that for breakfast. That's one of with sausage. I like patty sausage. That's my favorite, one of my favorite breakfasts in the world. Anyway, my friends, I can cook that real good myself. When I got time or somewhere to cook, I ain't got much. All I got in here right now is a microwave and a coffee maker. Anywho, yeah, good question, Angie. I don't know. I think it's strange. I wouldn't want to be calling things up. I think they're demonic myself. So yeah. All right. Patricia says, love it. That's right. That's some good eating. Grits and oh yeah, I'll tell you a grit story real fast. And then we're going to go. I'm going to tell you a grit story. One of my buddies, Ronnie LaJoy, he was on my right hand guys back in our rocket days doing rockets. And we were on our way to North Carolina to launch our Halo SO1 rocket. Went and got in the Guinness Book of World Records and got me the Space Pioneer Award from the National Space Society. In any event, we were it's angelic experiences. That's interesting. In any event, the Ronnie was behind me, following me. We're in 2 cars on this trip, trying to get to North Carolina to launch our first rocket off the Topsail Beach, basically. It's before we went to sea. And he starts flashing. We're in northern Georgia. I mean, out in the middle of nowhere. He starts flashing at me, his lights. I thought it was, Ronnie, what do you want? I had a cell phone there. I called him, Ronnie, what do you want? He says, Greg, I'm hungry. I want some ice cream. So I really want some ice cream. And I said, okay. He said, there's a Huddle House over. Let's pull over up here and get some ice cream. I said, okay. We pulled in there, and he says, yeah, we sat down. The waitress comes up and says, man, she says, what will you have? Well, cute little black girl. And he said, I want some ice cream. She says, I don't have any ice cream. He says, what about apple pie a la mode? Which we always called apple pie a la commode. But anyway, how about apple pie a la mode? You got that? No, no, we don't have. Well, what about ice cream on a brownie? No, no, we don't have. I said we don't have any ice cream. She said, you don't have any kind of ice cream? She says, no. She's real cute, real, she's kind of smiling, real sweet sounding voice. No, we don't. We don't have any kind of ice cream here. And he was just all, and then, he said, well, I'll take such and such. She looked at me and says, what will you order? I said, you have Georgia ice cream, don't you? And she looked at me and smiled. She goes, yes. Ronnie looked shocked, looked at her, what? I said, I'll take some Georgia ice cream. And she says, do you want butter on that? And I said, yeah. He was totally confused. Totally confused. But he looked at her and said, but you said you didn't have any ice cream. She says, I don't. I said, but you have Georgia ice cream, don't you? She smiled. Yes, I do. Real sweet. So he uh, he just waited. He was all bugged just to see what I got. It was a plate of grits. Anybody? The boy was from Rhode Island. He wasn't a Southern. He had no clue. He had no clue what Georgia ice cream was, but anybody in the South would know what Georgia ice cream was. Anyway, at least some between Alabama and Georgia. But we call it Georgia ice cream. Grits. Keeping the nurse prepper. How you doing, keeping the nurse prepper? Of course, I always loved that movie. What was that movie? The trial was in Alabama, supposedly in the middle of a nowhere community, rural remote community in Alabama. The guy played Herman Monster, played the judge, I believe. What was in that movie? Oh shit, can't remember the name, but somebody help me out. I know somebody knows what I'm talking about. Georgia ice cream. She had to make it herself. There you go. Mr. Mission Control. I just sent you my Geo Sentinel global hazard forecasting stuff, Greg. Okay, very good. Email. I'll check the email. What was that movie? They had a trial. These two boys got confused and accused of murder they didn't do. And their uncle came down from New York to try to help them. Joe, what's that guy's name? Joe Pest. I don't remember that guy's name. What was it? What was the name of that movie? It was funny. It was good. It was a funny, hilarious comedy. Yeah, My Cousin Vinny. I knew somebody would get it from My Cousin Vinny. Thank you there, Eddie. My Cousin Vinny. Funny, hilarious movie. Sit if you can. Those boys thought that he wasn't going to be able to defend them. Anyway, I love the part where he asked, how long does it take to cook a grit? I don't know. That was one of the things I found hilarious. Just another grit story. Anyway, I think that's enough. My Cousin Vinny. That was a good movie. I'll check my email later there, Mr. Mission Control. Let's see. Maybe I'll check it here real quick. If you see if you sent the green Gregs. Yeah. More Mr. Mission Control. Well, you did. Copilot. Share with your buddies and help out. Okay. Got a website there. I've got it on my phone here, pulling it up. Oh, Dutch and scene. Okay. Look at that. I'll take me a little bit to analyze that. We're going to call it a night now. Maybe I'll cover it in my next live or something. Grits and lots of butter, yeah, and a little salt. Maybe a little bacon go with it, right? Anyway, all right, guys, we've been going for almost an hour now, so I think it's time to call it a night. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, mods, for keeping the channel decent. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Be sure to share my videos because I just don't get enough views. This platform just don't like me. They don't like people telling them the truth. I don't like somebody can analyze things like an engineer, like telling you about uranium hexafluoride. Yeah, the administration probably didn't appreciate that either, but it is what it is. So, so guys, Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Share my videos. Make sure after I post it, you make some comments to it in the comment section below. Talk to each other. Hit the thumbs up. Do everything you can to promote this thing on the algors that have no rhythm. So we definitely need some help here. Now you're hungry. There you go. Well, we have some fun here. Anyway, so I really want to thank all of you. I really do from the bottom of my heart for watching. And I'm in my laptop now, the whole camera, because it's my camera, this brand new laptop's fell, so I got an attached camera on top of it now, and this makes it shake more. Anyway, so again, I'm gonna thank everybody for watching. And just share the videos, do what you can. But most of all, take care of yourself. We're living in perilous times. Take care of yourself. Get your preps in order. I'm living in my bug out location. That's how serious I've taken it. I am bugged out and I live in my bug out location. So from here forward, I'll be bugging in. I'll bug in into my bug out. Ain't going nowhere else. I'm in like Flint here. Arizona. This is a good place. I'll have to do a video on talking about bug out locations again. I've done a couple of them. I'm going to update that because I actually asked AI about it. I'm going to show you what AI had to say about it, just for giggles, guys. Hey, Hillbilly, how you doing? Howdy, howdy. You missed all the conversation about grits and gravy there, Hillbilly. You have to go back and check it. I'm sure you get entertainment out of that. But again, thank you all for watching. To one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are. Ho, ho, ho.